Howdy, folks. I hope you're well. Um, the camera's a little bit dodgy. So I hope you can hear me all right and see me all right. I'm hoping that it clears up a little bit better. Hopefully. Yeah, I think you can see me all right. So, if you can't hear me all right and see me all right, let me know. But I hope you can. You can. I've tried my best to get this as well. A little bit late. This computer software I'm running to go over all the channels that I do is uh, heavy on the computer, to say the least. And but I think it's working all right. I think it's yeah, it's all right. I can hear myself. So thanks to the people that are watching. Like I said, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but this is the last RPI show for a while. I'm not saying ever. I'm just going to take a bit of a break from it. And I'll explain a little bit why in a little while. Let's say hello, though, in the meantime, to who's watching. Mickey Hessian's watching, Michael Willis, Chris Withers. Mickey Hessian, I'm all right, thank you. Tennyson Michael Tipper's watching. Lee Finnan's watching. Tony Burns watching. Tony Burns watching. And while I remember, in my opinion, humble opinion at that, Tony Byrne has set out to do a one-off race, very ambitious. And if you look at the professionalism of his race, even down to his rules and how they're written, he's doing a great job of getting a relatively out there concept, I think, with what he's doing with the Barcelona over 3 years challenge. But he is, I've been really impressed with everything that he's been doing. And as I say, really professional and really good. And I see he's getting a lot of support, a lot of support. So much so, even Gabby said about there was a syndicate that he's doing, and she wants to enter the syndicate. So I just wanted to say because he's watching, I just wanted to say while I remember, well done, Tony, well done. You've done a good job. Gabriel Radu's watching. Now, Gabby Radu, I'm going to be mentioning in just a few minutes. For those that you remember, I went and interviewed Gabby down when I was down in Constanta in Romania last year. And Gabby had some great news over the weekend, which I'm going to share with you shortly. Ed Lewinsky from the US is watching. Cherry Luscombe's watching. Adam Glass is watching. Mikey Stanton's watching. Ray Kennedy. Johnny O'Donovan. Zandy is watching from somewhere. Let's just say somewhere. Not sure where. Well, I am sure where, but I can't say. That sounds really dodgy, doesn't it? I think Zandy might have a new potential girl in his life. PJ Power's watching. Let's move on swiftly. And we have Jeffrey Abel. Lorraine Butler says, thanks for the DVD. No worries, Lorraine. Tony Hughes on YouTube is watching. Barry Rogers says, no sound mark. You should be getting sound, mate. I'm watching myself on my phone, and I can hear myself. Joe Freely's watching from the west of Ireland. Joe the Dove Man. Thunder and lightning storms in the last few days. We had a bit, but not too bad over here, Joe. And Mickey Essen's waiting. Tony Burns says, cheers. No one. I never say what I don't mean, Tony. And very well done to you, and good luck for all the future. Zandy says, Molly says hi. So she's officially been named now as a potential, whatever the kids say these days. Chris Podmore's watching, and we've got more people watching as well. So let's crack on, and then I will tell you about lots of stuff going on. So the first thing is this, that as I said, I went to go and see Gabi Radu when I was down in Romania last year, September, October time. And Gabi has just scored an amazing result. So Gabi is known as the speed sprint champion of Romania. But over the last 3 years has been generating a longer distance team. And within 3 years, he's put all this together. And so yesterday, it would confirm that in Germany, he was first international from Bourges, racing out of Germany. Now, Gabi lives in Romania, but his brother lives in Germany, and they race as a partnership. Now, the amazing thing about this is that this pigeon was 100% Romanian. What I mean is that its parents were Romanian, its ancestry was Romanian. So, to me, one, it's amazing the result, goes without saying. What a massive congratulations and achievement to it. Two, for it to be a purebred Romanian pigeon is that puts the cherry on the top for me. Because like I said when I was down there, these guys treat this stuff seriously, and it's one of the fastest growing, it's the fastest growing country in Europe, Romania, for this sport. And I just think a big congratulations in order to Gabi for winning first international Bourges in Germany. What a massive congratulations, and what a massive achievement for him. So well done to you, Gabi. One of the nicest people I have met, even with a slight language barrier, one of the nicest people I have ever met. If you saw on my Facebook last week, I was drinking my coffee out of my Pigeon cup, and that is a Pigeon cup that Gabi, on the day we were going to go and visit, had made up with Gabi and I's picture, my Gabi and I's picture, and one of his pigeons and the Romanian flag and what have you. And he gave us this cup each just as a gift. What a lovely, lovely man. And he says hello. And I really look forward to going out there. I'll tell you what, I've got a will to let people know in the UK how good these Romanian pigeons are. As you know, I've got an interest in the long distance stuff myself. And I've been speaking to Giga Stanka, who I also visited there. And he's been the Romanian long distance champion for the last 3 years running. And I've been speaking to him about bringing some of his birds over and introducing them to the UK. And the same with Gabi. These guys are serious. They're not big lofts, they are small lofts that fly really well. And, Jigastanka, his pigeons will fly 980 miles from Estonia all the way down the south coast of Romania. I mean, we're talking super long distance. Gabi's getting into a long distance now and has already won a medium long race internationally. These Romanian flyers are serious stuff, and some really amazing Romanian pigeons. And I was speaking to Jigger about getting some over, and if again, it's the same thing. If these pigeons were from Belgium or Holland, people would be taking notice more. But people need to be taking notice of these Romanian pigeons, because they're hard, and that terrain over there, they're flying mountainous regions. So for a pigeon to get from Estonia like it does for Jigga, that's flying multiple different types of terrain. It's flying over mountains, and it's flying in hot weather as well. You know, the weather over there can get 32, 35 degrees in the summer in Romania. It's flying all the way down to the south coast for these guys. So again, big congratulations to Gabby. Now I have spoke to Gabby last night when he messaged me with the result, and I said to him, we need to get an interview, and I will be doing, with help from my Gabby, I will be doing an interview with him about it. So watch out for that coming up as well. I will be doing an interview with him and speaking to him about the win and everything else, and whatever else we can talk about. Hi to you, Jack. Zach Brocklebank that's watching. Richard Shepherd said there's a charity auction taking place currently. Some of the best national winning lots in Wales. 69 lots up for sale. Please see rhondavalleyfed.weebly.com. So that's rhondavalleyfed.weebly. That you spell that WEEBLY.com. I don't know any more about it than that, but Richard Shepherd's just posted. 69 lots of sent from some of the best national winning lofts. So go and check that out. rhondavalleyfed.weebly.com. Johnny McWhirter has just tuned in. How are you doing, Johnny? A big thank you to Johnny. He's sending Zandy's 6 young birds down this week. And Gabby says thank you. Gabby Radu says thank you. So yeah, watch out for that. Watch out for the interview with Gabby. I'm on the lookout for old books, folks. It's nice to see we got 87 people watching. Thank you to that. For everybody that's watching, thank you for that. I'm looking out for old books. So I want to tell you what I want to do on my office here and in the loft. I want to get some old prints of magazines or what have you. So I want to get my library of old Pigeon books going. I've already started, but I want to get some more. So if anybody has any old books knocking around that they want to part with and don't want too mad money for, let me know. Pat Mars watching. What's the key to racing pigeons well from the distance? Well, I'll be asking that exact question to Gabby, and you can tune in for his answer. Mickey Brown says, I have a few books. Yes, I do know that, Mickey. I've seen the big stack of them. And that's a library and a half in the making there. I got some squirrels books and stuff last week, a couple of weeks ago, and I want to get some more. Right, although I've got other great stuff to talk about, but I didn't want to, what's the word? I didn't want to, let me just wait for this doing its thing, and then it's going to be a lot better. I hope you can hear me, folks. Oh, Tony Hughes, you're sending books to me this week. I forgot, Tony. Thank you. I forgot with the events and everything going on this last week. I completely forgot that you'd said that. Thank you very much, Tony. It's much appreciated. Really appreciate it. Richard Zongenkind watching. Wooly Lennox is watching as well. Thank you for those guys watching. Yeah, I know I'm breaking up a bit, Wooly. I'm just waiting for my computer to clear doing its thing, and it should be finished in any minute now. And that then should make things a lot. 1 second, folks. We're nearly done. It's weird how things go a little bit array. I've been working all day fine on this computer, and I've closed everything down, and now it's hopefully that that should be all good. I think it's done its thing. Chris Davis is watching. Welcome, Chris. Jack Berry is watching. Now I am frozen. Okay. All right, so we're back. So yeah, so that's that. So listen, I being as this is my last show for a while, maybe ever, let's call it that, and I am going to explain why in a little while. Um, I didn't want this to have any form of negativity in it, but the reality is, it has to, unfortunately. If you watched the show last week, you know that I did the show. I didn't mention anything going on at all, any form, shape, or form, negatively wise. Um, and I didn't mention anything of anything regarding dealings of other stuff that's been going on. And I did that for a reason because I thought there was no need to mention anything. Then, um, you may or may not have seen my video that I did the following day, last Tuesday, which weirdly, I mean, we've now got 82 people watching. Um, how are you doing, Thomas? Thomas Zimmerman. How are you, Thomas? I hope you're well, mate. It would be good to catch up and except I know you're bombarded on Facebook, as am I, but it'd be good to it'd be good to for you to accept my friend request if you've got any space on that big Facebook profile you've got. Um, so yeah, Greg Drysdale says forget last week. I am, but I want to explain a little bit for a few minutes why. And Gabby says he'll be waiting in Romania with one big barbecue and the gold win. That sounds good to me, Gabby. Um, yeah, I didn't mention anything on the show last week, right? And then I felt compelled to. I felt compelled to because everybody has their limits. And the cynic would say that, well, my buttons were pressed, and therefore my limit was found, and it was. I don't mind admitting my buttons were pressed and what have you. So, without going all over it again, as far as I'm concerned, we went over 2 weeks ago, 2 Saturdays ago, to go and pick 7 pigeons up from Gary Tomlinson, owned by me, actually for Zandy. And that whole thing ended up in my brother being assaulted by Rob Tomlinson, sadly. And we didn't get the pigeons. And prior to that, I said, these 29 pigeons in the race that were payment for my work, I said, I don't want to argue anymore. I can't sell the lots anymore, which was my way of monetizing stuff. I said, just put them in Zandy's name. That didn't happen. They got transferred into his name, and that was pulled. So that's why I felt compelled to mention stuff. And then it's in the matters of the police and the RPRA now. And then I find out that said person is launching his own show at 8 o'clock on a Monday night, which I find quite interesting and childish and pathetic. And this was decided after his laughable offer via the RPRA to finish everything was rejected by me. Me deciding that this will be the last show for a while has absolutely nothing to do with him attempting to launch his own. I made this decision a few days ago prior to hearing that he was doing it. I find it quite amazing that for somebody that said last week it's just all about focusing on the race and focusing on getting the birds trained up and getting them out there and doing the best by everybody. I find it amazing that he's got the time to do so. Or maybe he underestimates what it takes to do one of these shows. That's all I'm saying on it, right? Now, ultimately, the whole thing has had a influence and a stress element, a big stress element to my family, namely Gabby and Zandy. I have other family. I have another son called James, but he doesn't live with me and he's not involved with the pigeons. And it's, they're the main two that this affects. And when I did my video last week and I see Zandy leaving as I'm mid video and getting upset and disappearing for nearly 2 hours, and then telling me he wants me to, he's quitting pigeons, that makes me very upset. So ultimately, if I'm absolutely honest, if it was just myself, things would be very different. But they're not. I have other people to consider. And it took me a while to calm Zandy down and speak to him and persuade him not to give up the pigeons just because of a few people's horrible comments, including Tomlinson's, was saying horrible things about my son on his video, which incidentally his video disappeared. His video disappeared the day after he put it up. And I sat there thinking it's quite pathetic and it's laughable at some of the stuff he's saying, but incidentally it disappeared the day after, which says a lot to me. This is hopefully the last I'm going to speak on this issue. I regret the day that I went over to see him after he called me up asking me to help with his race. That's all I can say. But when situations like that and all the other stuff that some of you will know affect my family, everybody from my brother, who was only there to help me pick up the 7 pigeons who got assaulted, to my son, who wants to give up pigeons after he's not really even started due to all the hassle and the horrible comments, and Gabby, who's been through it all, I have to take a look and say, what's really going on? And what am I doing it for? So, like I said, somebody might think it's a win that somebody else has set up his own TV show. We'll see how long it lasts. I would have thought he'd been super busy looking after 1,500 pigeons. But and the funny thing is, I think people can see through it that they've actually only done it to try and spite me. But whatever, because actually I'd made a decision to give this a break. Now, saying that, I'm only giving this show at 8 o'clock on a Monday a break. I actually did 2 videos last week, lives, and I will continue to do that. I will continue to be doing the live things, and I want to continue RPI. I'm not giving up RPI. The trouble with this show, if I'm honest, is doing it at a set time affects my family quite a lot. Because you do get, no matter how many people you block and what have you, you do get people saying horrible things about me. And I don't care what anybody thinks about me, but what I care about what they see people talking about me, i.e. my family. I'm not saying I'm not going to do it. If I'm absolutely honest, if it was just down to me, I would continue doing it no matter what. But I have other people to consider. Saying that, I will continue to do the live videos. I will still want to cover as many one-off races as I can. I only go where I'm invited, and I would love to go and cover as many one-off races as possible. I know the biggest one-off race that it covered from a point of view of viewership last year had 770 people watching live. And as a direct result of covering the race over in Ireland, 2 new people started the sport as a result, and 2 other people have entered that race this year as a result watching my live. I love that. So I still want to cover one-off races through RPI and do it because it enables people to watch races that they can't attend. I still want to cover as many lofts as I can and do visits to lofts and loft visits. Like I've said before, it happened that last year Only the big guys were inviting me. I will go within reason of travel. I mean, I will go to anywhere to cover lofts visits and get that information out there. So RPI continues. Our Facebook group continues. We're over 8,000 people now. And it's growing, still growing. And the group will continue. And I will be putting stuff into the group. And I'll be doing live videos. And I may, at some point, come back to doing the shows like this. But for now, I'm going to take a break from it. And it's funny, you know, I fed up late tonight because I was tuning into an auction, and I had to go and feed up while the auction was still going on. The one I told you about last night, last week, the WhatsApp one. And it's funny, I was in my mind preparing for this show and what I was going to say, because I do find it hard. I really do find it hard. I find it sad, actually, that I'm saying this is going to be my last show for a while, maybe ever. I do find it hard. But everybody has to look after their own family. And I'm saying it's going to be my last show for a while to do so. Yeah. So I want to cover people's one-off races. I want to cover people's loss and do loft visits. Tony Burns says, Barcelona, olr.co.uk. Barcelona, olr.co.uk. If anybody's interested in the unique one-off race, Barcelona, olr.co.uk. Go and check out what Tony set up there. It's ambitious, but it's different, and it's good, and it's professional, and I like that. I like that. So, like I said, you know, it is sad for me, if I'm honest. I am going to be launching pigeonads.com still. That's going to be a completely free to non-businesses, i.e. anybody that wants to sell their pigeons, their equipment, their lofts, whatever it is, anything to do with pigeons. I am going to be launching Pigeon Ads. It's going to be free for anybody to list, anybody to buy and sell with no commissions. Down the line, we will have like business stores that people can have, and there'll be a nominal fee. But Pigeon Ads will always be free for people to list any of their spare stock they've got, anything they've got pigeon related sell, both racing pigeons, fancy pigeons, any pigeons. That is something I'm doing. So it's not like I'm going away. RPI is not going away. But the level of abuse that I get as a result of doing this show, like I said, affects my family too much. As I said, if it was left to me, it'd be a different story, but it's not. And when I have my 16-year-old son, after watching that rubbish that happened last week, telling me he wants to quit before he's even raced the pigeon, that's quite powerful and horrible. And it's funny because, like I said to him, you got to just ignore these people, but it's hard to ignore these people. So anyway, and I will say thank you for the support since all of this that Zandy in particular has had. It's been amazing, and it shows him what great people there are in this sport. Unfortunately, some people ruin it for everybody else. So yeah, let me get my thoughts back together, and I've got a little list of stuff positive that I want to talk about. Right. You know, I created RPI to make the most impact and to try and change things. And by many, I've been viewed as an outsider. And I haven't raced pigeons for a while. But like I've said before, Sir Alex Ferguson never really played football before, but he was one of the best coaches of all time. I'm not saying I'm a coach in the sport. I'm just saying everybody's good at their own thing. And like I was going to say earlier, but I forgot. I went out there thinking of what I was going to say tonight, and I went out to feed up the pigeons because Zandy's otherwise engaged tonight. So I went up to feed up. And when I was feeding them, and I've got the young birds feeding out my hands, I thought, you know what, this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. All this other BS that I get, I have had hassle from 3 months of doing this. And I don't quite know why. I've had really established people saying, you know what, Mark, I don't blame you for giving it a break. I've had established people that really know what they're talking about saying, I'm not entirely sure you can ever change the pigeon sport. And I still refuse to accept that. But maybe they're right. All I have ever done, no matter what anybody thinks, is I have tried to do good in the pigeon sport. I may be very different to most people involved in the sport. I am. But I've only ever tried to do something different and to up the game. And all I've had really, not all I've had some great support. People watching this now are great support. People like Lorraine Butler, Tony Hughes, Mickey's on, you know. I've only ever tried to make changes and do good, despite what people say. But the level of hatred, really, I've had is unbelievable. And I'm used to trolls. I'm used to haters and trolls, but this is a different level. I'm not entirely sure what can be done to change it. But this is why I need to take a bit of a step back and say, what am I doing to make the most effective use of my time to make the biggest impact to change things? And I'm not entirely sure this is quite the right format. And you have idiots like we've had for the last few weeks coming on and talking. And some would say you should just argue, you should ignore them and not argue in any or retort in any way. And I know people will miss the shows on a Monday night. And thank you, Chris, for saying that. And as I said, I'm not saying never, but I'm saying I think I need to look at what I can do with RPI to make the most impact and not affect my family. And I'm not sure how that will come out. Like I said, I'll still be doing videos. I'll still be doing one-off race reports and broadcasts to anywhere that wants me. And again, despite what people think, it's never been about the money. The reality is RPI in these 16 months I've been running, it's cost me thousands to run. And that's fine. Because like when I go in there to the Lost Tonight and feed up and I get that buzz and that enjoyment, I know this is something worth fighting for, to get people out there in the bigger picture, to know the bigger, wider world, to know what this great sport is about and to change perceptions. But I just need to take a step back. That's basically it. And I'll still be doing my stuff. And I really do appreciate everybody that watches this. And I hope if I do come back, you will continue to start watching again. Maybe you will have found another show at 8 o'clock on a Mondays that you prefer better. I doubt that most people watching this will find a show at 8 o'clock on a Monday, because the reality is most of my haters don't watch this anymore. And any other shows that are out there are still around, if and when I come back, that are still around by then, maybe that show's not the kind of thing for you. I don't know. But thank you to all those people with support. It does really mean a lot. It means a massive amount. So, moving forward now, before we finish. Zandy and I have applied to a new club, the Swaddling Coat Club, here in South Derbyshire. We put our application in, spoke to the secretary, seemed very nice via text. We put our applications in. Zandy is going to continue after some discussions, and let's carry on with the plan. So we're carrying on, and we are going to be. We've applied to the club. Um, let's catch some comments before I carry on. Gary Smith said, had a link of the DVD. Gary, just message me direct and I'll sort out whatever you need, mate. Denny Kinsella's watching, Bobby Glue's watching, Daniel Lordek's watching, Julie John Albury's watching, Soren Dudu's watching. All right, Soren, hope you're well. Speaking about how good Romanian pigeons are earlier. Well, Paddock's watching, Simon Wally's watching, Thomas Zimmerman says, family is the most important thing and stay positive, Mark. You went through a lot of things already. Indeed I did, Thomas. Let's catch up soon. It'd be good to catch you. Mark Paddock said, if you give up, nothing will change, mate. Look at the stink about ETS and still people put their faces about. Don't take personal because there's someone who's interested in your work. Good luck in whatever you do. Like I said, I'm not giving up, Mark. RPI is still there, but this particular show is, for now, going to be on hold. And I'm still going to be doing live videos, and I'm still going to step back and think how things can be changed and what I can do to make the biggest impact. Like I said, I'll still be doing live stuff. And I'm a big fan of one-off races, and I will, even after everything, I'm a massive fan still of one-off races, and I will cover any one-off race that wants me, and any loft visits that want me as well. So, yeah, I've had quite a lot of people in the last few weeks say, "Well, why don't you set up your own one-off race?" And I laugh at them because I know, despite whatever, that it's hard work. And I'm not shy of hard work at all. But I just don't think at all it's the right thing for me to even consider doing. What I would, however, say is this. In the last 8 months, I've had an idea of a different type of one-off race. Instead of a one-off race that you compete for a big pot at the end of the year, how about a different type? And that leads me on to what I'm going to talk about next, which is meeting someone I've been looking forward to. I'll come back to the idea of my different idea for the one-off race in a little while. It will link into this. On Saturdays, Andy and I went up to meet the miler master, as I now have coined him, Eric Pickersgill. Eric's name has come up since I was first introduced to milers and the idea of miler. I didn't even know anything about milers until 3 months ago. As Andy and I went up on Saturday to meet Eric, I've been looking forward to this all week when it got confirmed to meet him and get some of his miler pigeons off him. We brought some back with us. I've put on racingpigeoninternational.com about it and some pictures and what have you. Go and have a look, and I put it on Facebook as well a couple of days ago. I've met a few lovely, genuinely nice men and women in this sport. Eric's one of them. What a lovely, knowledgeable guy this man is. This man has been racing milers since he was a boy. And it was a great few hours with him. And we got some great miler pigeons off him. And we're going to be using that as our base family. And I'm going to be actually putting a British Homing World article together about our meeting. So if you get the Homing World, have a look. But it is on racingpigeoninternational.com. And linked in with that, I've been banging on about the milers a little bit. And I think it's a great way of bringing new people in. These miler pigeons race 52 weeks a year. The only time they will not race is if it's foggy. They'll race in snow, they'll race in anything, not fog. That's the only thing they won't race in. And imagine racing every week. Now, a lot of people watching, or not watching, but some would say it's not proper racing pigeons. Well, define what proper racing pigeons is. One, it's a pigeon. Two, it's racing. It's only racing a mile, but it's still racing. And actually, this is something I need to speak to Thomas Zimmerman about, because the miler guys do it a little bit different, but I would want to bring in modern ETS to it. So the miler pigeon went into the center of a square of a paddock surrounded by lofts. And I don't think I don't know if that would work long term for various reasons. But I want to fuse what those guys have been doing for years and the amazing spectacle that miler racing is, with some modern twists. So I really want to revive the miler racing. They only keep a small loft. Eric's loft is very modest. Some would say small. They only normally have maximum of a team of 10 milers in there, 10 miler racers paired to other pigeons. And the losses are hardly anything. And when I read on some of the groups about the losses experienced over the last 48 hours from racing this weekend, and short distances, relatively short distances, it's unbelievable. I read somebody sent 22 and they got one back. With milers, you don't really get those losses at all. And I think it could be a really great way of bringing new people in or re-engaging other people. Maybe people have passed. Zandy's got a friend that's been around that I know is a good friend of him, and even he's interested in this. So imagine this. Imagine, see, the thing with the miler thing, one of the reasons it stopped is because you need a plot of land to have, like, you know, half a dozen lofts on, small lofts on. So there's some various issues as to why it stopped. The reason it stopped in Barnsley at Eric's club was that the council took the land back. It's a bit of a p-take that they've never done anything with it, but there's some issues as to why it stopped. I want to regenerate miler racing because I think, for all the reasons I've said in the past few weeks, it's short, it's done within an hour, it's done. It's normally on a Sunday. Eric showed me one pigeon there, showed Andy and I one pigeon that won over £5,000 for him in miler racing. Now, that's something I want to look to help do because I think it's a really great thing. But imagine this. Imagine a one-off race with a difference. Instead of racing for one big pot at the end of the final race, you could still have some key final races, but they raced every week. So how we would know hotspots, but they're racing every week for a purse to one loft. And those pigeons also could be miler pigeons. So you're going to be hearing me talk more about it, and especially now I've got the base of my miler family. And once we've got the milers that we want, the young birds we want out of these birds, and we've got milers flying out that can compete, we will be breeding from those miler pigeons that we got from the miler master, Eric Pickersgill, and we will be letting anybody have miler pigeons that they want from what we've got. And that's what James Cook and I are planning to do, and anybody else that's got milers. I will be looking to acquire milers from the very best I can, put them together, and then we will obviously build a team of milers, but then we will be looking to get them milers distributed to other people that want to get involved, because they are a very different type of pigeon. So yeah, that's kind of my idea. Imagine a one-off race where it's a one-off race, send your pigeon to it, maybe there's a perch fee, but then you're racing every week. So you activate your pigeon every week if you want or you don't. And it works on a pool system. If you look at the income versus prize money for a lot of one-off races, it's relatively low. No way this is a reflection of Tony Burns' loft that he's watching his one-off race. As I said, I think it's an amazing race. But the thing with this one-off race I'm talking about is it would be nowhere near as big as the others. Excuse me. But you would, as the race organizer, take a nominal percentage of the activation fees weekly, and the rest goes into the pot. That's the kind of different thing I'm thinking of doing, for what it's worth. Mark Pennant says, glad to hear, looking forward to seeing you on next. You could get a local pub, Mark says, to let you have a little pen and get the locals interested in pigeons, seeing you race them on a Saturday, Sunday. Exactly. Dominic McCollin says, yes, so it's a 1 mile race, Dominic. Go and Google miler racing. miler pigeon racing, and you'll see some videos. It's Eric was telling me stories. Not only were these pigeons seen flying under bridges, he has seen a pigeon go under a bus to get home. There was a race that was tied, that was a dead heat race, 57 seconds. Two pigeons did 57 seconds dead. And they go down to decimal places. It was 57 seconds dead. It was amazing speaking to him. I think it's such a cool idea. Different, but cool. They did those races in Indonesia, did they, Thomas? Interesting. Let's have a chat, Thomas, when you're free. I want to talk to you because I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about, Thomas. If we could do it with the Benzing ETS, it's slightly different. They hand release each pigeon, and there's various different formats to it. But I want to talk how that could be done. So let's have a chat when you're free. And thanks for watching, Thomas. It means a lot. So yeah, I'll be coming up with more ideas. This is why I'm taking a bit of a break to think of my ideas. Like I said, the thing definitely happening, the event, the live broadcast, occasional Facebook Lives I do, that's still going to be happening. Pigeonads.com is launching. It's supposed to have launched last week, guys, but it's been busy. And I tell you, the site with what I'm doing is a bit of a pain to get it working for people to be able to list their adverts for free. Like I say, it will be a free advertising platform. It's took longer than I wanted it to. So far from going, just changing for the reasons I've already explained. What else have we got on the list? I wanted to tell you a little story about Bear. Who is Bear? I hear you ask. Bear is this pigeon when it decides to come up. Bear the pigeon. He's a bit shy. Hang on. 1 second. This is Bear. Yeah, Dominic, just message me, mate, and I'll give you. James Cook from Tom Lee Lofts has got a Facebook group, and you can get in there and read all about it. It's fascinating. Stephen Kennedy's watching. Thank you, Stephen. This is Bear. I wanted to introduce Bear to you. Bear was a gift from Eric Pickersgill. And little Bear came with a mate of his. And along with the milers we got, Bear the pigeon came and was given as a gift to Zandy by Eric. So it was a hot day Saturday, so I said, we got the milers in. We said, right, Zandy's got a few little fancy pigeons in a small shed, so let them out. And I said, right, put Bear and his mate. He wasn't called Bear then, but he is now. I said, put them in the aviary while the others are out. So we did so. And then little Bear the tippler managed to go the wrong way out of the bob wires. And he stayed on the roof of the aviary of the loft for a while. And I'm like, oh, we've got a bit of chance there. Bear in mind, the pigeon that I'd been put in the loft, he'd been back 20 minutes, in the loft 10 minutes. That's it. So he stayed on the roof of the loft. And I said to them, let's just leave him a bit. He was there for like 45 minutes. I said, right, got to try and get him in. Tried to get him in, won't have it. But he was cooing to some of the other pigeons. And then suddenly he flew off, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And he flew around. It was weird. There was a thunderstorm coming, but we could see him flying, and we watched out for him for 2 hours. He kept coming back, but he didn't directly come over the garden. He didn't come over the loft at all. He just flew around over the other way. And in about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I'm like, he's gone. Actually, about an hour later, I thought, it's gone. And then he come back. And I thought, oh, this is nightmare. It's horrible. There's something special about this little pigeon because he was so cocky on the top of that loft, chatting up the other girls in the loft. And I said to Zan, and so anyway, cut long story short, 2 hours later, little bear is gone. And I sat there at night with Gabby and I said, I'm so gutted. I didn't use that word. I said, I'm so gutted about losing that pigeon. I said, we only had him, but he got, obviously only had him a few hours. And Eric, it was a gift from Eric Pickersgill to Zandy with another tippler. And I was gutted, and I gutted, far more gutted than perhaps I should have been, because it wasn't really our fault. He got out of the bob wires and what have you. So I was, and it got, we were more affected by this little pigeon being lost so quickly after we'd only just had him. So I'm feeding him up. So I'm feeding up last night, and I hear Zandy shouting, Dad, the pigeon's back. The tippler's back. And sure enough, 26 hours later, remember, this little bird had only been at his new house for 10 minutes. And sure enough, Bear, as he's now called, after Bear Grylls, had been out of his new home. They'd only been in for 10 minutes, for 26 hours. And sure enough, he turned up back on the loft the next day, ready for feeding time. And that, I mean, I had a good weekend meeting Eric and with the milers and everything anyway. But that really made my weekend that this little pigeon had come back after being 26 hours out and only literally being 10 minutes in his new home. And I just thought, you know what, that's great. And it just shows you how great these little birds are. So yeah, that was Bear. Right, it's 9 o'clock. Thank you to everybody that's still watching. Still got 60 people watching. From the bottom of my heart, it means a lot that you're watching. I hope that you will continue to tune into anything I do. If you're not a member of the RPI group, please go and sign up to Racing Pigeon International group on Facebook. Go and like the page. That stuff will still be happening. You can add me on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/Marky, M-A-R-K-Y, Lyford. It means a lot that so many people watch this show through good and bad times and support me. And the support that I've had, and Zandy's had, and Gabby as well, means a great deal to me. And I will be honest, this is quite hard. But like I said, it's a break. We will see what happens. But rest assured, myself and RPI will continue and going nowhere. I just need to think how, I need to take stock and think how I can make the biggest impact without letting idiots and haters and people that don't want change affecting things. And it is perhaps as simple as saying, just build your own group of like-minded people and move forward. And maybe that's what it's simple as is. And if it is as simple as that, then at some point, I hope this show will come back. I hate the idea of not doing this show, but I've explained the reasons why for now that's not going to happen. So thanks for the support. It means a great deal. People who I never knew were appreciative of my efforts over the last few weeks have come out and said they like what I'm doing and they appreciate what I'm doing. It means a great deal. I've met some amazing people in the last 2 months. And they will stay with me for life. And like I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just taking a break. Let's see what happens. Let's come back with a new reinvigorated plan. And deep down, I still want to change this sport because the sport deserves to be changed, needs to be changed. I just got to wait. I've got to figure a way of filtering out all the idiots. And maybe that's just down to me. Maybe the people that don't ever want to change and just want to stay in the dark ages are forgotten about. But it's how do you move forward with momentum to make real change? And as I say, maybe I sound defeated. I'm far from defeated. But if your approach isn't working, go and change it. And I apologize to people that like and enjoy watching this show. I have people on here every single week that watch me religiously, and I apologize. But like I said, one, I'm always here on this. I'm always here. I'm around. I will be doing lives, and things will continue. But for now, it's goodbye for now, and let's see what happens. Thanks a lot, people. It means a great deal. I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I will catch you soon. Good night.